Hey everyone, so here is another video on structure of a farewell to arms with the fusion of the themes of love and war. Actually, Farewell to Arms is a very well-known novel by Ernest Hemingway as you see his picture on the screen. The outline we will cover in this PPT is about the author first, then main content in which we will cover the main portion and means some summary of Farewell to Arms and at last conclusion. So here we go with Ernest Hemingway. He was born on July 21st, 1899 in Oak Park, Illinois, US and died on July 2nd, 1961 at the age of 61 in Ketchum, Idaho, US. Notable works by him are like this: The Sun Also Rises, A Farewell to Arms, For Whom the Bell Tolls, and The Old Man and the Sea. Actually, I have already made PPT on The Old Man and the Sea and some portion of Farewell to Arms also. You can see on my YouTube channel. Then notable awards of Ernest Hemingway are like this: Pulitzer Prize for Fiction, which he got in 1953, and Nobel Prize in Literature, which he got in 1954. Next is about summary of A Farewell to Arms. First of all, we should know what is Farewell to Arms. So this is a novel, and the novel is divided into 5 books. In the first book, Henry meets the attempts to seduce Catherine Barclay, and their relationship begins. When on the Italian front, Henry is wounded in the knee by the mortar shell and sent to a hospital in Milan. The second book shows the growth of Henry and Catherine's relationship as they spend time together in Milan over the summer. Henry falls in love with Catherine, and by the time he is healed, Catherine is 3 months pregnant. So we will cover all this. Means the main thing in this we will cover is about what are the themes of love and war, uh, bringing out the fusion of love and war in this. So see here, I have covered almost 10 points I guess, and we will cover the structure of A Farewell to Arms with the fusion of the themes of love and war. We will cover all these points one by one. First is interlinked with each other. So the theme of the love and war besides other themes is this central theme of Hemingway's A Farewell to Arms. In A Farewell to Arms, love and war are shown to be interlinked with each other. War easily puts love in danger, makes it unstable, and creates strong disillusionment of love. It is also because of the war that love can have its grounds. It is because the war that love is challenged and destroyed and does not survive war at the end. Next is about mainly related to war concerns. So, as the title of the novel makes clear, A Farewell to Arms concerns itself primarily with war. Hemingway's artistic creation is never independent from his life experience and his personal beliefs. After 10 years of meditation and digestion of his experience, Hemingway lays before his readers a work which is far from a mere war experience nor a story of love and death during the war, says Baker. Next is about their declaration of love are transparent. So, in A Farewell to Arms, the majority of the characters remain ambivalent about the war, resentful of the terrible destruction it causes. War is not only the physical struggle but also a psychological torture. Upon meeting Catherine and Henry rely upon grand illusion of love and seduction for comfort. Catherine seeks solace for the death of her fiancé while Henry is doing anything to distance himself from the war. Firstly, their declarations of love are transparent. Catherine reminds Henry several times that their courtship is a game. This is rotten game we play, isn't it? Catherine comments early on. So this is about that the declarations of love are very transparent. Catherine has mentioned everything she thinks about Henry. Next is serious love affair. Although cynical they start off, the war eventually brings out the best in them as they involve in a serious love affair. Their mutual trauma gives them enormous understanding of each other's personalities. Henry himself admits, God knows I had not wanted to fall in love with her. I had not wanted to fall in love with anyone. He is saying clearly in this novel. Next is about indispensable part in each other's life. As the romance developed from the stage of flirtation to a serious love affair, the war is changing from the war in the movies to a war that has become risky. Gradually, Catherine becomes an indispensable part of his life. The love of Catherine Barclay is so great that Henry deserts the army and, as he puts it, declares separate peace. So, next is about ironical part of their love. So it is ironic that the love between Henry and Catherine blossoms in war and withers in peace. How strange this situation was there in this novel. When the Catherine sees the Henry for the first time, the shadow of death hangs over their meeting. Her fiancé has been blown all to bits in the war. She is frank with Henry. You do not have to pretend you love me. As a woman, Catherine particularly needs the love from a man to get rid of the terror caused by brutality of the war. And next is about changes in feelings. The couple's feelings for each other quickly passes through an amusement that distracts them to the very fuel that sustains them. Henry's understanding of how meaningful his love for Catherine is outweighs any consideration for the emptiness of abstract ideals, such as honor enabling him to flee the war and seek her out. Henry is embarrassed by the words as sacred, glorious, and sacrificed. Reunited, they plan an idyllic life together. Next is of tragic tone of writer Hemingway obviously. Far away from the decimated Italian countryside, each intends to be the other's refuge. However, they cannot escape from cruel clutches of their dark destiny as Catherine unfolds her inner fear. She says like this: I am afraid of the rain because sometimes I see me dead in it. In fact, the tragic tone of the writer is sustained throughout the novel. Hemingway points out the world breaks everyone, and afterwards, many are strong at the broken places, but those that will not break, it kills. It kills the very good and the very gentle and the very brave impartially. Next is about explanation of war. In A Farewell to Arms, although revealing the tragedies of the protagonist, Hemingway attempts to point out that war is nothing more than a dark extension of the murderous world which refuses to protect or preserve the happiness of humankind. In addition, life itself is nothing more than an endless struggle, and the end of it is death and pain. Henry acknowledges no matter how hard we fight to live, we end up defeated. So here we see the explanation of war by Ernest Hemingway. Next is Catherine's death. In the end, Catherine's ultimately death has driven Henry Frederick into a senseless cesspool of babbling thoughts. He thinks like this: get away, hell. It would have been the same if we had been married 50 times. And what if she should die? She won't die. Means she will not die. People don't die in childbirth nowadays. It's just nature giving her hell. and he thinks that these words show Frederick's scattered train of thought. He attempts to shield himself from death, with these clutches. Frederick even begins to pray to God in one last futile attempt, but of no avail. After Catherine's murder by the biological trap, Henry's disillusionment is poignantly um, revealed in his last tragic note. He says, "But after I had got them out and shut the door and turned off the lights, it was not any good. It was like saying goodbye to a statue." So he thinks like this. Next, and the last is conclusion. A farewell to arms in a war novel, and Catherine's death brings a conclusion that is consistent with the theme and context of the novel. The novel was written with a war wrought cynicism that is reflected in the attitude of Lieutenant Frederick Henry as the war changes the way he looks at life. So this is for now. Thank you to all, and thank you everyone, and bye to all.